to lend money to the poor before they become so impoverished. Before they become so impoverished. Look please in Pasuk Lamed Hey, Lamed Vav, Lamed Zayin, 35, 36, 37. We see the importance that before your friend becomes so destitute and he asks for help, there's such a very important mitzvah to what? Maintain him. So from here our sages learn out the main mitzvah to lend money to people, which is a Torah mitzvah elsewhere in Shmot Mishpatim, before they become destitute. There could be, even if it's not a poor person, the Talmud talks about this. Someone is a wealthy person, but he wants to heighten his wealth. Then, yes, even to him, there would be considered a mitzvah to lend him money. And it's even a criteria of tzedakah, of charity. Okay? And whereas when we come to getting money back, then we're not allowed to take interest, as the Torah says in Lamed Vav, Al tikach meito neshech v'tarbit. Do not take from him any interest. And we said the word tarbit comes from the word what? Harbe. Can you see the shoresh in there? Can? No increase. V'yareta me'elokecha. And you have to have fear of your God. And as a result, v'chei achicha imach, your brother shall live with you or next to you. Rebit, interest, you might say, it's quite logical. You are blessed with capital. Someone needs money to live, to create a business. And instead of you using your money to make more money, you're lending your money to a friend. And you would think that it should be legal, that since your money is in, what's the proper word? Your money is in a sense of cessation. It's not active. It's not making money. You're just lending someone. You would think that, for lending money to someone, you should be able to take interest because you're not putting it into real estate, into bonds, into investments of this kind or that kind. Certainly, rebit would not be gezel, theft. It would be logical or justified, that would be the better word, to make up a markup of interest because so you're not using this money for other investments. And however, here comes the Torah and says, you're not allowed to do it because we're talking about achicha, your brother. We all have to be guarantors that our fellow Jews not only maintain the Torah and the mitzvot, but they be able to stand on their feet economically. And therefore, it's prohibited for you to take from a fellow Jew interest. To a non-Jew, if you want, it's absolutely permitted, justified, it's proper, etc. But what we're learning here is the Torah is demanding amongst ourselves, brothers, chesed, kindness. Chesed is the basic realm of principle, of value of a God-fearing Jew. Not to be to myself, not to be selfish, but rather thinking of the others. And even if you have a little money to lend to someone, then that's a great mitzvah. And therefore the Rambam says, if I wanted to learn the laws of charity, I open up the book of Zra'im, seeds, which deals with all the mitzvot tliot ba'aretz, the mitzvot that are dependent upon the land. And we get to the laws of leket, shichacha, pe'ah that we learned perhaps in last week's parsha. And then here's another mitzvah called the laws of tzedakah, where the Rambam says we're obligated to be careful with regard to the mitzvah of charity to a greater extent than all positive commandments. Why? Because charity is an identifying mark for a righteous person, a descendant of Avram, our patriarch. And what did God say about Avram Avinu? Ki yidativ, I've known him. Leman asher yitzavet banav, I know him, that he commands his children, la'asot tzedakah, to perform charity. Therefore, charity is one of the most important things upon which the Torah stands on. And later in the chapter, although we don't have time right now, the Rambam talks about 8 virtues 8 virtues in the laws of charity. I don't see it right here. I had it over there. And it's worthy of opening it up and reading it, but right now we don't have the time. So my dear friends, the mitzvah of lending, Torah mitzvah. Not to take interest, Torah mitzvah. And God wants us to do chesed to make sure that our fellow brothers are standing on their feet. Have a good day today.